Welcome back to the morning kickoff right here on Sports Radio AM 1300, The Zone. He's a Major League Hall of Famer. He's a World Series champion, and he was also named MVP. He is the one and only Larry Wayne Jones, but you know him as Chipper Jones.
That's walkout music right there, baby.
That's what I used to have to listen to all the time when I was playing left field. Deion Sanders was playing center. He'd be like, Chipper Jones.
I love it. Chip, how you doing, man? I know you've been busy. There's a lot going on in Atlanta. They're trying to make some moves. Is Chipper Jones ready to announce that he is going to be the manager of the Atlanta Braves?
No. I don't know where that came from. I think that's just some fans maybe pie in the sky dreams, but no, it's too much of a commitment for me personally, and to be honest with you, to put the organization or to put the pressure on a general manager to hire me to a fireable position is I don't really think it's a smart move.
Right.
To be honest with you, it'd be like, okay, not to say that I'm in Hank Aaron's league, but let's just say you hired Hank Aaron to be the manager, and a couple years in, things didn't work out, and you possibly had to go a different direction. That's not a good PR move, to be honest with you. So, I've got my foot in the door about as much as I want to right now, with 3 kids here at the house. So I'm good. I'm very interested to see who gets interviewed. I'm very interested to see who is in the running for the Braves managerial spot. But I can promise you, this redneck from Central Florida ain't one of them.
What about a consulting basis, like where you can pick your times and pick your spots to work with?
That's pretty much my title now. I am, for lack of a better term, Major League hitting consultant. I'm a third set of eyes for the guys in the room. I don't go down there. I'm not going to be looking over the shoulder of the current hitting coaches, day in and day out. But in certain instances, like with Michael Harris this past season, sometimes with Ole and Riley, I'll go down, and if guys are struggling, maybe just give a little outside view of what I see and be gone again,
Right.
for lack of a better term.
Yeah, that right there is something that I know that you enjoy, because obviously you're still connected in the Atlanta area. You one of the only players to play his entire career with the Atlanta Braves, so that's good that they have you coming in, and obviously you understand the game. You don't play as long as you did, and being a Hall of Famer, that sometimes the simplification of the conversation changes the approach for the hitter.
Yeah, I think especially in this day and age, we get caught up in a little too much intake of the analytics and the numbers, as opposed to, hey man, let's just worry about center in the baseball. like that's where it all starts and ultimately ends, is just trying to center the baseball. And sometimes a little adjustment with your hands, as in the case of Michael Harris this year, working, getting his hands up, he was starting them down around his chest, getting them up around his ear and swinging, top to bottom, works, and it gets you on plane more, and it keeps you from looping and all these things. And you saw him really take off after the guys made that adjustment. So sometimes it's just the little things. It's a little suggestion here and there, and all of a sudden, players take off.
Chipper, you made a couple of comments just now in that last sentence where you said you don't want to be over there looking over people's shoulder, and you also said that you didn't want to be there in the building all the time, because both of those things say that sometimes people get a little antsy when somebody else comes in. Is that your reasoning for that, or have you heard something from somebody?
No, I am. They want me in the building as much as possible. But I understand. I grew up the coach of a high school baseball team for 30 years. He was a graduate assistant at Stetson University for 10 years. I understand the pecking order and how things work, and I've seen other situations where maybe you know guys come in and maybe the hitting coach or the pitching coach feels a little uncomfortable. The last thing I want to do is step on anybody's toes. Normally, when I come in, it's just to visit, it's to say hello, it's to talk to the guys, not necessarily in the batting cage, but in the locker room. I don't want anybody to feel like I'm overstepping my boundaries, like I'm stepping on anybody's toes. I understand how the pecking order works. When I'm asked to come down and say, the hitting coach calls me or a specific player calls me and asks me to come down, I'll come in and do my thing then, but not any other time.
We're talking to Hall of Famer Chipper Jones as he is enjoying an off day after he hit the golf ball yesterday. Made a little strange money right there. I like that about you, dog. You made a little money yesterday. Appreciate that.
I gotta pay for 7 kids, man. I'll take that money any way I can get it.
No doubt. Just don't do it the Chauncey Billups way. We'll keep that away from that.
Oh man, we didn't have to go there.
Hey, but I do want to ask you this because you were talking about squaring up the baseball. Two guys that have not had a problem squaring up the baseball is Shohei Ohtani for the Dodgers and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. of the Toronto Blue Jays. This is a big-time matchup with two teams that seem to be – obviously, you're peaking at the right time if you make it to World Series. Talk about what Shohei's been able to do, not only at the plate, but delivering to the plate by being able to stretch out a little bit in what you've seen from Vladimir Guerrero in that squad.
Well, I'll start with Vlad. I mean, he's just a guy who's really coming into his own right now. You're really starting to see superstar type quality at bats and play for Vlad. A lot of his dad in that swing, but the organization showed a ton of respect for him and admiration for his game by paying him this past year
Yep.
and allowing him to be comfortable. And he is showing out. It's nice to see those middle of the lineup guys really start to hit their stride come to postseason and big at bats and quality at bats. And, as a guy who hit in the middle of the lineup, a lot of the offense revolves around those middle of lineup type guys, and Vlad's showing out. As far as Shohei, man, I don't think we're running out of adjectives for this guy. I mean, he goes. I think he's 1 for 18 with 10 strikeouts in the division series, and then comes out not necessarily doing much in the LCS either, and just shows up to the ballpark one day and has the greatest day that any of us have ever seen. That's stuff that we used to do when we were like 12 years old in Little League. Throw 6 inning shut piece, hit 3 homers, and go grab some hat full of bubble gum for player of the game after it's all over. But he's doing it at baseball's highest level, and that's the most incredible thing. I think when you see and hear guys like Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and 2 pretty good players in and of themselves, MVPs, they've had their moments in postseason. They're in awe of this guy. They can't believe some of the things that he's doing. He's going to make his presence felt in this series. There's no doubt. One way or the other, he's going to hit a couple of big homers. He's going to throw, he's going to have a big start or 2. So
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to watching Shohei showcase his talent on the biggest stage possible that that this sport can provide.
As somebody who has won a World Series and been to a couple other, as you look at this game and you start to break it down, does it go 7? Are we looking at a gentleman's sweep, or is this going to be one of those series that will go down as one of the best because of the talent on both of the team? And before you answer it, would you put Bo Bichette in the lineup after being out for as long as he has?
That's a tough one. He's one of your studs.
Yep.
He is a top of the lineup guy, but he has not been facing quality pitching for the last month. And I can promise you, when you've not seen the type of pitching that he's going to see, for the next month, or for the last month, you get rusty, and it takes some time for you to get back into it. This team is playing so well right now, as is, that I would have a hard time putting him in there unless I was completely convinced that he was seeing 95-mile-an-hour pitching for the last couple of weeks, that he was moving around good enough at shortstop. I mean, like I said, this is one of your guys, man. You got to ride or die with him. But as far as the series itself, I think these first 2 games are huge. I think if LA sweeps the first 2, it could be Katie bar the door. I just don't see him getting out of back to Toronto from Los Angeles. If they split, I like a 6-game series because the kid Yesevich is going to pitch a couple of times. That I think he's the wild card. I really do, because the Dodgers have not seen him yet. They've seen everybody else. They've seen the Gossmans and the Scherzers and whoever else they got, starting there in Toronto, but they have not seen this kid. Talked to Smoltzy the other day, who's doing the games, who was doing the American League Championship Series, and he goes, "This guy is legit," So kind of pulling for Toronto to come out of the gate quick, so it maybe we can at least maybe think about getting it back to Toronto and having a good 6 or 7 game series. But I like the Dodgers in 5 or 6 games, somewhere in there.
All right, I ain't gonna hold you to that. I'm not gonna. Mark, you muted. You're muted, Mark. I'm not gonna hold you to that, Chipper.
Do you think that? Do you think that's good for the league to have a team that's as dominant as the Dodgers are, or should the league try to diversify this and not allow one team that's willing to spend all the money to do that?
Man, that's a good question. I expected that question from Harge, man, but that's a great question right there, big man. It's tough for me to, as a professional athlete, to look at quote unquote super teams with a ton of respect. But the fact of the matter is, the Dodgers are a sum of what we have created from a players association type situation. We refuse to have a salary cap. The players before us didn't succumb to a salary cap. We didn't succumb to a salary cap, nor will the players now. And that's why you're probably going to see a work stoppage coming up. But the fact of the matter is the rich are going to get richer. Being in LA and having a lot of Japanese talent coming over from the Japanese leagues, where do you want to play? Well, you don't want to play on the East Coast. You want to play on the West Coast, and the Dodgers have the money to pay. You're going to see the teams in the big markets, LA, New York, Chicago, continue to flourish because, quite frankly, they have more money to spend than anybody else, and that's why a number of the next championships are going to come from those cities.
Well, it's funny that you say that before we let you go, because Mark is a Yankees fan. So therefore, he understands what the evil empire, and he's mad.
Evil empire. Evil.
his team is not participating with all the money they spend.
Hey, I'm comfortable with it. If you think that good is evil, then hey, sign me up. I'm evil.
Yeah, you're right about that, and that's the thing. I mean, look, there's only two teams that can play for it every year, and Toronto just kind of hit their stride this year, or else we'd have another New York, LA World Series again. And to be honest with you, Harge and I, we text all the time. He asked me my picks, a while back, and I was like, man, part of me wants, kind of San Diego, Detroit, kind of a redo of 1984 World Series. And then I, I texted back about 5 minutes later. I said, I'm just kidding, man. LA and New York are going to be in it again, So, Toronto's a bit of a surprise, and I'm sure I can say this pretty positively. Outside of Los Angeles, I'm pretty sure everybody's rooting for Toronto to win this series. I can promise you that.
100%. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Hall of Famer Chipper Jones, bringing us the analysis. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you.